Hello and welcome to this session on ACEN case studies. In this session you'll find information on how to put together your case study, tips for submitting your case study and other forms of practical advice. My name is Dr. Bonnie Dean. I'm from the University of Wollongong and I'm on the ACEN Board of Directors, and today joining me is Kerry McLeod as well as Anna Rowe and Sharon Scott. Anna and Sharon are also on the ACEN Board of Directors. Look, this initiative, the putting together case studies, is really aligned with ACEN's strategic plan, and that is to lead and promote will across Australia. We are really keen to enable the facilitation of practice sharing in will, and the case studies is a really great way of doing that. What we do is we invite all ACEN members to reflect on their will practices and consider submitting a case study for publication on our website. So what are the will case studies? Let's run through a few of these points. What we're really looking for are examples of really good practice and particularly innovations in the will space. So have a think about what is it that you do that's quite special or unique in the will space. We're looking for examples from any discipline. And they can be in any model or format. So they could be placement or non-placement, they could be virtual, anything really, and also by any provider. So that could be not-for-profit, commercial, government, or any other sort of partnership formation as well. The emphasis here again is on that innovative practice. So have a think about what is it that you offer your students or your partners or the community through your will exemplar. These will case studies are peer reviewed by members of the ACEN board. So this is a great way also to get some feedback on what you do in terms of putting it together and how you present it to the will community. Our aim is to inspire, inform and assist will practitioners by sharing these experiences and ideas. So why might you submit a case study? So there's a range of reasons, but the main reason for us is to really start sharing those good practices. It's also a great way to showcase what you do and get your work recognised by peers across the ACEN network. When we accept your case study, it is published on the ACEN website. Now that is a website that's open globally, so anybody from around the world could actually come in and check out what you do. So it's a good way of also getting your name out there as somebody who is in the will space. It's also a great way to promote what you do for yourself personally. So for instance, you could connect this case study on any of your professional profiles, like your LinkedIn profile. You can share it on Twitter or other forms of social media. If your case study is accepted for publication on the website, and we really work with you to ensure that they are, it also means that you are eligible for an Excellence in Will Award. So I think it's actually called the Innovation in Excellence in Will Award. Now that award is given out at the biannual ACEN conference, and this year it is a conference year, and a bit later on I'll speak to that given the current climate. It's also a great way to receive some peer support in developing your case study. So when you apply to submit a case study, this really is a process that we go through with you. It's not just a one-off entry. We actually then work with you to unpack your case study a bit more and to support you to enable it to be ready for publication on the website. Now, types of case studies. If you haven't had the chance yet to go on to the ACEN website and browse the exemplars that are currently there, I really encourage you to do that. And you'll see that there is a range of disciplines and models that are showcased. We are looking for innovation or evidence of alternatives to traditional practice. So these could be non-placement will, but it also could be those in priority areas such as will for international students, will for inclusive will around supporting students from diverse backgrounds, equity backgrounds. We're looking for will in technology or virtual forms of will, particularly now as we're experiencing a large move into the tech space. We are interested in those types of examples as well. We're also looking for what kind of outcomes or benefits does your case study have? And of course, this is a range of benefits such as employability or partnerships and accessibility and inclusion as well. So the important thing to emphasize here is that there is not one typical type of case study that we're looking for. We're looking for a range of case studies. What I'd love to do now is hand over to Kerry. So if you're there, Kerry, would you like to talk us through the application process, please?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Bonnie. So there's always, when you're looking at these kind of processes, a lot of theory about what type of project looks good, how they can be submitted, and then there's somebody who gets to talk about the application process as well, the drier bit. So I'll try and go through this fairly quickly. But so once an application is submitted by somebody who's putting a case study together, they come through the ACEN website, and we will talk about the actual process of submitting in a moment. But it's received by reviewers as part of a standardized process to help ensure that the end product has a degree of uniformity, to make sure that the quality at the end is as strong as we can make it, and it's as useful as we can make it for everybody accessing this information. We receive the information, put it through against a rubric. The detail of that I'll talk about in more detail in a moment, but in terms of processes, we look through what we've got and try and give some feedback to the author. Are there any bits that need strengthening? Are there any bits that could be developed a bit more because we believe there's a really strong component in there? We give those suggestions back to the authors, and then it undergoes as many reviews as it needs to before the final product is useful and accessible to everybody. There's a decision made about whether or not it's published on the ACEN website, but that decision is very much worked through with authors as they're putting their application together. As Bonnie said, anybody who puts a case study, submits a case study that is then published on the web pages is automatically considered for the Innovation and Excellence in Will Award at the biennial conference. You can opt out if you need to, but we regard anybody who's put that degree of effort into putting together a really strong case study needs to be considered for inclusion in that award. This process can be as timely, I suppose, as everybody wants it to be. We try and get back to people as quickly as we can. But this is often something that people are doing on top of other pieces of work as well. So work with us. We'll get back to you as soon as we can with any responses and any requests for more information. This is a list of criteria that we're starting to look at, or that we look at for every case study that's submitted. There is a number of areas that we look at within each of those criteria. So, for example, if we look at the second one, the will activity demonstrates good practice or innovation. What we'll ask you to do within really quite strict word counts is to tell us, what does your case study do that's really innovative, or that gives a really good feel for a new practice that isn't being delivered elsewhere, or that other people can learn from as well, or that you want to showcase. So, for example, we'll look at whether or not your case study is taking a really innovative approach to a standardized or generally accepted mode of design for a case study, whether it could be adapted to suit the requirements of other universities, other disciplines, other sectors, vocational education establishments as well. So we're open to any kind of idea that could be of interest to other people, which is why we end up then with a very strong and very broad range of different types of practices. We look at as well things like whether it has very strong integration into a curriculum. So we'll break down how the students are prepared, how the implementation of that practice is reviewed, and what reflection and debriefing phases are included as well. We do find that those word counts can be quite restrictive to some people when you've got a lot of information to get across, and that is where we can work with you to pull out the really strong components. The structure, format, readability is also taken into account there. I can't emphasize enough within this that we work with you to make sure that the information you're providing is as strong as it can be, and we have often had feedback from people that this process has been to people submitting a case study as it has been to people reading the final versions. We look at all areas, all criteria, but we also understand that some may be stronger for some people than others. So your particular practice may be very strong on partnership, for example, but not quite as strong in another field. So we'll pull out what you think is the bit that makes your case study strong, different, unique, innovative.
Let's move on into tips for addressing the criteria. What we're looking for, as Kerry said, is innovative practice, and the way that you communicate that is really important. So please be really clear with the information that you present. Just think through the facts and try to avoid vague statements if possible, and try to tell us in a factual way what you do and how it benefits others. We do have word counts and word limits, so please be concise with the way that you write. We are looking for evidence-based practice as well, so you can support your claims with, for example, in-text quotes from students or partners, and be mindful of all the stakeholders. So think through all the lenses of those who engage with your will practice and what you do with those stakeholders. Address the adaptability or transferability aspect of your program. So, for example, others might be looking on the website for examples that they might be able to do for themselves. It might be in a different discipline or even in another country. So be mindful of how someone else might adapt your model. There are a number of questions related to the criteria that Kerry just covered. And what I'll do in a moment is I'll go online and I'll actually show you how to apply. Now, when you're also submitting your case study, we love photos and videos and website links. Please be mindful to have permissions for those photos and videos. The more visually appealing your case study, the better it will be on the web page. Of course, if you don't have those things, that's also not a problem. We can work with you to brainstorm what kind of visuals might be included in your case study. So think of the reader, think of a range of audiences. These are will practitioners who are reading these, and what will capture their interest, and think about what is it that makes your case study stand out. Okay, how to submit. There is an online form. What I'll do now is I'll see if I can just pop out of this and move into just the web page, if it'll start up for me. So just doing a Google search for ACEN. Oh, maybe better if I spelled it correctly. So we're going to the website. Now, in order to get into case studies, I want you to click on the resources link. Now, you can go directly to submit a case study here, which is where a lot of the information lies. If you go into all resources and you click on that one, case studies is right here. It's the second one on the page. Now, these are our exemplars. Here you are, there's 16 of them there. You can also go into this link here, which is submit a case study. Now, here's the information on the types of things that you'll be asked, and this is a PDF which you can download. And here is our online submission form. So all you do is you move through, there's a range of just details here in terms of the duration of your case study, the discipline of your case study, and what level it is. Then there's a number of questions which require a bit more thought and expansion in terms of the word count, and these relate to the criteria that Kerry just covered. And then at the end, we're asking for your consent as to whether or not you would like your case study to be considered for the Innovation and Excellence Will Award. So if you have any questions on how to submit, please just let us know. If you're having any issues at all with getting online or accessing that Google form. Again, please just send us an email so we can help you. Like I mentioned, please go through and take time to look at these examples. There's some amazing things going on already out there in terms of the will practice, some of which is showcased here, and yet there's so much which has not yet been showcased, and so we'll be delighted to be able to put up your case study on our website. For the award, the Innovation and Excellence Award, this will be judged by the ACEN Board of Directors, and we're looking at a number of criteria here which have already been covered. So we're looking at the degree to which it's an innovation in the field, the adaptability of your case study to other contexts, the topicality, and that's in terms of the relevance to various topics or priority areas, the impact it has for your stakeholders, and of course an evaluation mechanism inside the program, which now enables that loop of continuous improvement to move forward. Now, the ACEN conference is scheduled for this year, and at this point, we don't have any further information about whether or not that conference will go ahead. So we'll have to kind of watch this space a little bit in terms of when this award will be announced, but we can update you on our website. And for those of you who are interested in submitting a case study, of course, we can make sure that we're in constant communication around what's going on with our ACEN conference this year. Please be mindful of the 1st of June deadline this year if you would like to be considered for that award. It takes us some time to, like Kerry mentioned, to go through the case studies and work with you to make sure that they're ready to be published. So that's why we're asking for a 1st of June deadline. Our ACEN Excellence in Will Award winner was the peer-to-peer program at the University of South Australia, and you can find that in the exemplars online. So what's next? I encourage you to check out the website. We've got some space now to ask some questions, but also please note that 1st of June deadline if you would like to be considered for the Innovation Excellence Award. If you don't quite meet that deadline and you would still like to submit a case study, well then your case study rolls over to the next biannual conference. So it's okay if you miss that deadline, you can still be considered for the award in the next round.